Good afternoon. Today we're going to be talking about my comprehension read aloud plan for the book The Two Bobbies. The Two Bobbies is probably one of my favorite books that I've read and do with my class each year. I just love this book. It's so sweet and you can teach kids so many things through this book. The Two Bobbies is a nonfiction text and it is based out of the Katrina flood that happened in New Orleans. Residents were forced to leave their pets behind because the flood, they were not expecting, obviously, the levees to break and all the things to happen that did happen. Because obviously, in New Orleans, they go through lots of flooding. But this book follows the journey of a dog and a cat and teaches us about the dog and the cat and the different things that are going on with them becoming friends. The cat was actually blind and the dog had a chain hooked to it. And so you're going to learn, that the cat learned to follow through the sound and the dog helped. And it's just really can teach you a lot about people too and animals. Some words that I chose. Here are 5 words that I have chosen from the Two Bobbies. And the first one would be volunteer. Volunteer would be to willingly give one's time. So I felt like that's a word that a lot of kids may or may not know. Who knows? They may not know that it what it means. Another word I chose was determined. Having one's mind up. So you may be determined. And so I felt like that was another word that I would use. Another word I picked out was blind, which means unable to see. Some kids may not know because you don't generally deal with a lot of blind people. I can't personally name anyone that's blind. So kids may or may not know what it means to be blind. Debris. Kids may not, I felt like that students may or may not know what debris means. It's bits and pieces of stone, rubbish, or trash. So just things that were in the way of getting around, that are thrown in the way that we don't even think about, and kids may or may not. So debris was one of my words that I chose. And the last word I chose was hurricane, to make sure that they knew that a hurricane was a violent tropical storm with strong winds. So just to make sure that kids did understand, because right now we live in North Carolina, or I live in North Carolina, and we hear of hurricanes, but we don't deal with hurricanes where I live too much. We may hear of them, but we don't really know what a hurricane is because we don't live on the coast where I live. So those were some vocabulary words that I pulled out that I thought were tier 2 vocabulary words that I would pull out, and along with a few, there could be lots more that I thought that was good ones for the book, The Two Bobbies. Some Bloom's questions that I've come up with is, who is Bob Cat? What is a hurricane? Who is Bobby? Why were the animals stranded? Here are a few others that I have. How did Bobby react when someone tried to touch Bobby Cat? What might happen if Rich took Bobby's chain all the way off? So Bobby had that chain, remember, and what would happen? The kids, to get them thinking, what might happen if someone would have took that chain off? What happened that convinced the shelter workers to put the two animals in the same pen? How would the story have been different if Bobby and Bobcat had been separated? Do you think Bobby was smart? I mean, these are just some questions that I thought that I pulled out that I thought followed through with the Bloom's questions that we followed with the different tiers, and to get kids thinking about the story and the things we're doing. Sorry, I have to keep moving myself around. I'm blocking everything. Here are my pull it together. Let's wrap up this week. So all week long we're going to talk about it. I'm thinking on day one. On day one we're going to read the book, obviously. We're going to probably go over a couple of the vocabulary words. Day two, my goal would be to listen to the book, listen to someone else read it. I have linked in here, if I don't know if you noticed or not, but I linked to Read Aloud. So kids can listen to someone other than the teacher read it, because I think it's important that you hear it from other people's perspective. And so, just the more times they hear it, the more times they're going to hear these words being used, the more time they're going to get this vocabulary practice. Then each day you're going to go over this vocabulary. I would make flashcards with it so kids can. I would have it in my different chart, in my chart, or somewhere around the room where kids can match up the vocabulary words all week long and work on these vocabulary. They're going to practice writing the words and the thing. So my vocabulary practice, to tie it together to see if the kids know what it is, I came up with where they would write a definition, and they could either draw a picture or go online and find a picture to go along with this. It's not an easy task to find a picture of blind, but kids, there's different things you can figure out. Like you may find somebody with a bandana or their eyes covered or something, just to see what kids think of, and you might be surprised what they think of. I also put a few other words that I did not have on our other list. So, like I added stranded. Kids may not know what that is. I talked about tethered. They may not know. There's a few other words that kids may or may not know that I had come up with. I just didn't add them all to my slide, but I have flashcards for all of these things. Devastated's another one that I would have a flashcard. And like I said, the kids will work on these words all week long, and then we'd wrap it up. Maybe I usually like to do my wrap up on stuff like this maybe on Thursdays. So then Fridays we do a fun culminating task that ties it all together on Fridays. Now, a graphic organizer that I've figured out, I chose a cause and effect graphic organizer that me and the kids will fill out together. And this one I've already filled out. Water poured into the city deeper and deeper. And the effect were people who stayed through the storm were forced to leave their homes. So as you can see, I've got all the causes on this side and the effect of the causes. And as we go through the book, I would slowly start integrating these causes and effects so that kids could see them each day. And you may not want to do them all on the same day. Like I said, you could do two a day, and that gives you, there's two, four, six of them. So that's 3 days. So you may do them on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That way you've covered them all by the end of the week, and you may focus on, what happened, here and here in the beginning of the book, in the middle of the book, and the end of the book, and choose those things so that kids can go back and figure out these causes and effects. And you can do it as a whole group, or you can give the kids this paper and they can keep up with it all week, whatever your class is able to do. My last thing would be my culminating activity. And meet Bobby and Bobcat. Write 4 questions that you would ask the animals if they could talk for one day. So if Bobby and Bobcat could talk after you've read the book, think about something you would like to ask them if they could answer you, maybe about their journey, maybe about being blind, who knows, just to get kids thinking about something else about the book, you know. And I would encourage them not to do just the basic questions. Were you scared? Of course they were scared. They were they were left behind by their family. No, I mean their family couldn't help it. Their family had to leave quickly. They were left behind. Who knows? They might not have been at the house when the family leaves. What, you could. So I want kids to start thinking about what you felt like, or a question to for Bobby and Bobcat. And these would be my activities that I would pull together for the two Bobbies. And these are some activities that I do plan on doing this year with my class. We did a few of these last year, but I've added some more to it after thinking about this thing. And this is for EDU 332. And my name is Daisy Garner. Thank you.